proposal, saying all the things we do for the customer. So with the managed service model, proactive approach, it's things like small business server, for example, 2003, identifies in the event log that you're running out of licenses. We use a Kaseya script. It knows that you're running out of licenses. So before the customer phones up and says, I can't log in because I've run out of licenses, we've actually gone, you need to buy some new licenses. So not only have we got a sales side of things there, but also we're making sure that we avoided that call in the first place. The customer's not phoning us up and saying, I've got 4 people that can't log in today because there's no licenses on the server. We're saying we're looking after that and it's working. So it's the proactive approach to managing the IT. The people, the key part of our business is obviously people. We're a service company. As I said, we're not a box shifter. The people, once we've got them, we've got to look after them, we've got to keep them, because when they get to know our business, they get to know our customers, we don't want them to leave. Last year we spent £65,000 with Interquad on training, so it was all the Microsoft training, VMware training, Citrix training. We're trying to improve the skill sets we've got, but we're also trying to retain engineering staff, because when I was an engineer and I worked for someone else for a short period, what I wanted to do was get my MCSE, get my CCNA, get all my qualifications, try and grow in the business. It's a fun place to work, and because of that, the guys are loyal and they work really hard for us. Best practice in IT, well, everything we do, we try and base around industry best practices. So if something new comes on the market, we don't necessarily jump on top of it and say we're going to try and deliver this brand new service because everyone's going to be screaming for it. We wait and see how it works out in the market. When we're talking about best practices, we're talking about redundant power supplies and servers. We're talking about making sure that we've got RAID arrays configured. We don't typically sell clone servers. We might make more margin if we were selling Intel chassis, but we're selling HP because we see it as the right thing to do, selling branded kit. The best practices also leads into best business practices. So last year we started looking at the ITIL framework. We sent a number of the guys on the ITIL training courses, and it was massive. The guys came back and they knew every acronym under the sun, and there's people walking around talking about SDMs and talking about everything, and it was mind-blowing. And we looked at it and we said, our typical customer sits in that 5 to 50 space. And if we start talking about change management processes and talking about all these other things that ITIL tries to introduce, it's not going to work in our space. It'd work in the bigger customers that we look after, and they'd love it. They'd say, this is great, Mirus are taking everything really seriously. But what we did is we said, there's lots of really good things within ITIL that we can bring to our business, but there's lots of things that would be too restrictive looking after an SME customer. So we've taken a lot of the ITIL framework, we've improved our business processes, we've documented our business processes, we've looked at the best practice in terms of how we manage calls, how we call back customers, that type of thing, and that's all come into improving the service for the customers. And one of the things we do, which I'll come to, is we ask customers, whether or not they actually feel that the service is improving. And we know that when we did our ITIL training and we implemented what we did implement from ITIL, that customers felt that the service had improved. They felt that we were more responsive, that they understood what was happening with the fault that they'd logged with us, that type of thing. So it just improved our communication skills. And that obviously where it comes on to managing expectations. Management and communication. 3 years ago we used an access-based database system to manage our calls. It was absolutely shocking. It was the worst system in the world. We had paper-based records. We didn't know where we were. We didn't understand our billing. We didn't understand, if a PC was in the back of someone's car, if a PC was in the workshop, where it would be. So we needed to improve the management of the calls within the business, and that's why we bought Autotask, and that basically gave us our call management side of things. The communication side of it, we've actually implemented lots of workflow rules that generate emails to let customers know what's happening, but we also pick up the phone and we say to people, we're due to see you tomorrow morning. We're just going to let you know. What we don't want to do is turn up an hour away from our office and the guy's not even there because they've decided to close in the office for a golf day or something like that. So it's about communicating with the customer and making sure they understand what's happening. Research. By research, what I mean is we research the industry, so we know what our competitors do. What we don't want to do at time of renewal is go back in to see a customer and they say that, it's great, you do a really good job for us, but the guy down the road can also do this. And we'll say, oh, right, okay, we didn't know that, and we haven't got an argument. If we know what our competition are doing, then we can actually say that, is that something we should look at? We don't know everything. We talk to people all the time. There's a couple of people in this room that we've spoken to about different services that we offer and how they do things and try and compare the services. So it's always about researching what other people in the industry are doing. And that helps a massive amount in improving our service. One of the other things we do, because we've had Kaseya for a couple of years now, we've created what's called a Kaseya peer group. So we've got a couple of companies that we work with, some in Ireland, some in the UK, and we share ideas and we share scripts. So as we develop something, rather than us going off and developing something and then saying, yeah, that's great, we've developed it and we're going to hold it to ourselves, we don't want to share it with the guy down the road because he's our competition. But someone in Ireland, we're not likely to pitch for the same business. So we'll give him our script. He'll then say to me, oh, by the way, guys, I've written this script. We're like, great. So we've got another script. We've got something else in our offering. So because these people aren't competitive companies, we're not in the same geographic area, we're sharing ideas and we're actually improving our service, but using ideas that other people have come up with. And that's helped with our sales proposal, it's helped with some of the programs we've adopted internally, it's helped with the Kaseya system. So there's, just talking to people in the industry makes a big difference. And that's part of the reason why, I've come up here today. It gives me a chance to get to know new people, and share some more ideas. The automation tools made such a difference in how we deliver the service for the customer. Before that, we'd go and we'd do a job. So, for example, we'd go and roll out antivirus. But for some reason, we couldn't use a management console or whatever it might be. So with engineers going to do it, everyone's going to do it differently. And one PC is going to get missed, and it's just going to be a nightmare. With the automation tool, it's all done to exactly the same level for every PC, for every customer, if that's the way we want to do it. So it makes it much easier. Measuring, everything we do we measure. So we measure response times, we measure time to fix, we measure literally everything from a service side. But what we do by measuring is we know whether or not the service is suffering for existing customers. So if we know that our average response time is 15 minutes and 30 seconds and we've taken on 10 new accounts and it's suddenly drifting to sort of 17 minutes, then we think, well, we really need some extra staff. So internally we've got these key metrics that we monitor and we say, when we hit that figure and we've got that in the pipeline, that's when we start a recruitment process. We know it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get someone on board. It's going to take a couple of weeks for that person to get trained up, understand the products that we use. So it gives us a lot more visibility, and it means it's a consistent service we're offering to the customer. So they know we're growing, but they're not seeing the impact of it. Service addiction, it's the big red logo there. It's something we saw a couple of other people doing a similar sort of program, and what we did is we looked at it and we said, it's a really good idea. It's a commitment to improving the service all the time. So it comes back to the ITIL side of things, it comes back to all the other bits and pieces we do in the business. What we're doing all the time is looking to improve the service. We use a tool called the Net Promoter Scoring tool. It's basically just a way of asking customers, do you like us, will you recommend us? As a magic question, or I think they call it the ultimate question, would you refer us to someone else? And we score ourselves based on the response we get. And we do this every 6 months, and what we're trying to do with our service addiction program is always improve our score. And to date, it's been going up. It doesn't go up massively. I think we're at 66 or maybe 72 at the moment, but the score can only go up to 100. The likes of Amazon and people like that are at sort of 70. I think Apple might be somewhere around 80. So, we're doing pretty well, and, it's a good way of making sure that we know that we're doing a good job for our customers.
Hi, my name's Simon Humphrey. I'm from Ely in London. I work for an ICT services company. Here today to have a look at what's done in the managed services space. Very, very interesting. Very good guest speaker. I'll certainly come again. It was a very enjoyable event.
Okay, so my name's Gina Gray. I work for a company called Kaseya Limited in Hook. I'm responsible for driving revenues and margin to the business around managed services. So as an organisation, we've been using Kaseya for 2.5 years, very successfully. Since I've joined the business, we've ramped up the support and the managed services. But the reason I came today was to have a look at what we're doing to make sure that it is down the right path, in the right vein, see if there's any extra tips, any things that we're not doing that we could be, and make sure we're learning from other people's mistakes so we don't make them. And I found it very useful. I'd say 95% of what we're doing is the same as Paul, which is great. There's a couple of things that he's doing that we're not, that we really would benefit us and our customers, so we're definitely going to take that away from today and implement it.